Here's something most guys never figure out. It's not your looks. It's not how much money you make. It's not even how confident you are in person. It's three specific types of texts. That's it. And when you send them at the right moment, she's thinking about you while she's in a meeting, while she's having dinner with her friends, while she's trying to fall asleep. Not because you said something impressive, not because you made a grand gesture, because you triggered something in her mind that she genuinely can't switch off. Now, I know how that sounds, and I get it. Most of this stuff online is either too obvious or just flat-out manipulative garbage. But what I'm going to share with you today is different. It's rooted in how attention and emotional memory actually work in the brain. And here's the thing I want you to hold on to until we get to the third text especially. Because that one? Most men will never figure this out on their own. I've seen guys with everything going for them completely miss it. And once you understand why, it changes how you approach everything. So stay with me. We're starting with the psychology first, because if you don't understand why these texts work, you'll use them wrong. And using them wrong is actually worse than not using them at all. So let me ask you something. When was the last time a song got stuck in your head? Not because you chose it, not because you even liked it that much. It just lodged itself in there and kept playing. That's not random. That's your brain responding to something incomplete. There's a psychological principle called the Zeigarnik effect. It basically says that our minds hold on to unfinished things much more tightly than things that are resolved. A completed thought gets filed away. But an open loop? Your brain keeps returning to it, keeps trying to close it. And here's where it gets interesting when it comes to attraction. When a woman is genuinely curious about you, not just politely interested, but actually curious, her brain does the same thing. It keeps coming back. It keeps asking questions it doesn't have answers to yet. And every time it does that, she's thinking about you. That's not manipulation. That's just how human attention works. The problem is, most men text in a way that closes every loop immediately. They over-explain, they over-respond, they answer questions she didn't even ask yet. And without realizing it, they're basically telling her brain, "You can stop thinking about him now. Everything's resolved, nothing left to wonder." And her brain listens. The attraction fades. Not because she lost interest in him necessarily, but because he gave her nothing to sit with. Think about the last conversation you had with someone who genuinely fascinated you. Didn't they leave you with something you couldn't quite put your finger on? A feeling you wanted to understand better? A question you kept turning over? That's what we're building here. Not mystery for the sake of being distant, not games, not playing hard to get like it's 2009. Just the right kind of incompleteness. The kind that makes her feel something she wants to feel again. And the three texts I'm going to walk you through, each one creates a different version of that feeling. Curiosity, warmth, and something harder to name, but way more powerful than either of those. Let's get into the first one. Text 1, the observation text. Okay, so the first text is probably the simplest one, but simple doesn't mean easy. Because most men get this completely wrong, and the difference between getting it right and wrong is actually pretty small. Here's the idea. At some point in any conversation, whether it's been one date or 3 months, she's told you something about herself. Something small, maybe. A restaurant she loves, a show she's been watching, something she said she wanted to do someday, a fear she mentioned almost in passing. Most men forget these things, or they remember them but never bring them back up. The observation text is just this. You notice something in your day that connects to something she said, and you text her about it. That's it. Not, "Hey, how's your day?" Not, "Thinking about you." Something specific. Something that could only make sense to her because it references her. Let me paint this out so you can actually see it. Say she mentioned once, maybe casually, not even as a big deal, that she used to take piano lessons as a kid and quit, and she kind of regrets it. Just something she brought up once. 2 weeks later, you're walking past a music store. You see a guy through the window, maybe 40 years old, clearly a beginner, fumbling through something on a keyboard. And you think of her. You don't send a paragraph. You don't make it a whole thing. You just text, "Walked past a music store today. Saw a grown man absolutely murdering a keyboard. Thought of you." That's it. Now, think about what happens on her end when she reads that. She stops, because it's unexpected. And then, almost immediately, she smiles. Because you remembered something she said. Something she probably didn't think you were even paying attention to. And now, without you saying anything about feelings or connection or any of that, she feels seen. And that feeling? It opens a loop. She starts thinking about that conversation. She starts thinking about you in that moment, noticing something and thinking of her. She might not respond for 20 minutes because she's just sitting with it. Here's what most men do instead. They try to be impressive. They text something they think sounds deep or interesting. Or they check in just to check in. "Hey, what are you up to?" Which is fine, but it's forgettable. It doesn't land anywhere specific inside her. The observation text works because it tells her, without saying it directly, "I actually listen to you. You're on my mind." But not in a desperate way, just naturally. Women feel the difference between a man who is thinking about her and a man who is just thinking about having her. This text communicates the first one, clearly. And here's the thing to remember. It only works if it's real. If you're making something up or stretching a connection just to have a reason to text her, she'll feel that too. Not always consciously, but it'll land a little flat and she won't know why. So actually pay attention. Actually remember what she tells you. Not because it's a strategy, but because if you're genuinely interested in her, you probably already noticed these things. You just haven't been sending them. Start sending them. But here's where most men get it wrong even when they understand this. They overdo it. They send these every day. And what was once rare and meaningful becomes expected, becomes noise. Once in a while, when it's genuine, that's when it hits. And this brings us to the second text, which works completely differently. Because while the first one makes her feel seen, the second one makes her feel something she'll have a much harder time letting go of. Text 2. The unfinished thought. All right, this one is a little harder to explain, but once you get it, you'll start seeing it everywhere. There's a specific kind of text that creates almost immediate mental pull, not because it's clever, not because it's romantic, but because it's incomplete in just the right way. Here's what I mean. Most texts are self-contained. You say a thing, she responds, the exchange is done, clean, finished. And again, her brain files it away. Nothing left to sit with. The unfinished thought does the opposite. It's a text that opens something without closing it. It hints at something without explaining it. It makes her feel like she just caught the beginning of a conversation that she needs to hear the rest of. Now, and this is important, this isn't about being cryptic or weird. It's not, "Hey, I need to tell you something," and then waiting for her to ask. That's transparent and slightly annoying, and she's seen it before. It's more subtle than that. Let me show you what this actually looks like in real life. Picture this. You've been seeing someone for a few weeks. Things are going well, but you're still in that phase where you're both figuring each other out. She's had a long day, you know she's home, and you send this. "Had a strange thought today. Probably nothing. How was your day?" That's it. Now watch what happens. She reads, "How was your day?" and she's about to answer. Normal. Routine. But she can't get past the first part. A strange thought, probably nothing. What thought? Why probably nothing? Why did he mention it if it's nothing? Her brain won't let her just answer the second question and move on. The first part is sitting there, unresolved. So she answers your question, and then asks about yours. Almost every time. And now she's the one chasing the thread. You didn't ask her to. You didn't beg for her attention. She just naturally wanted to know more. Here's what most men do wrong with this. When she asks, and she will ask, they either over-explain and kill the moment, or they play it too cool and say, "Oh, it's nothing," which just feels like a letdown. Both of those responses close the loop in unsatisfying ways. What you do instead is answer honestly, but lightly. Maybe it really was just a small thing, something that reminded you of a conversation you two had, or a decision you've been thinking about. You share it simply. No drama, no build-up, just a real, small, human thought. And what that does, underneath everything, is it shows her that your mind is active, that there are layers to you she hasn't fully explored yet, that a conversation with you doesn't always go exactly where she expects. That's quietly, deeply attractive. Because here's the truth most men never really sit with. Women aren't just attracted to what you are. They're attracted to what they imagine you might be, the parts of you they haven't seen yet, the version of you that exists just slightly beyond what they currently know. The moment she feels like she fully understands you, completely, totally, no surprises left, something shifts. Not because she stops caring, but because that sense of possibility starts to close. The unfinished thought keeps that possibility open, gently, naturally, without you having to perform anything. Text 3, the one that changes everything. Okay, this is the one I mentioned at the beginning, the one most men never figure out. Even the ones who think they understand attraction, even the ones who've read all the books and watched all the videos. Because this text isn't about creating curiosity. It's not about being interesting or mysterious or any of that. This one is about emotional timing. Here's the setup. At some point, and this happens in every real connection, she's going to have a hard moment, a frustrating day, something that didn't go the way she wanted, a moment where she's feeling a little low and probably not showing it to most people. She might mention it to you, or you might just sense it from the way she's texting. Shorter responses, less energy, something slightly off. Most men in that moment do one of two things. They either try to fix it, jump into problem-solving mode. Have you tried this? Maybe you should do that. It'll be fine. Which usually makes her feel more alone, not less. Or they go quiet, not sure what to say, and she notices the absence. What you do instead is this. You don't try to fix anything. You don't perform empathy with a long paragraph about how much you care. You just send something small, something that says, "I see you." Not the version of you that's fine, the actual you, right now. Something like, "You don't have to be okay today." That's it. 5 words. Now I want you to really think about what that lands like. In a world where everyone, her friends, her coworkers, probably even her family, is operating under the assumption that she's handling it, that she's fine, that she's capable and together and doesn't need anything, you just gave her permission to not be. Not with a grand gesture, not with a long emotional text, just 5 words that cut straight through the noise and landed exactly where she actually was. That's the moment things change. Not because you said something impressive, but because you made her feel something she rarely feels, genuinely, quietly understood. And here's the thing about emotional memory that matters here. We don't remember people for the big moments as much as we think we do. We remember them for the small moments that hit at exactly the right time. The moments where someone saw us when we didn't think we were visible. She will remember that text. She'll remember it the next day. She'll think about it when she's with other people. She'll think about it when she's comparing how she feels around you versus how she feels around everyone else. And she won't fully be able to explain why you feel different to her, but she'll feel it. That's not manipulation. That's not a tactic. That's just what it looks like when someone actually pays attention. So let's just sit with this for a second. 3 texts. That's all we covered today. And I know part of you might be thinking, this seems too simple. Surely there's more to it than this. But here's the thing. Most men are out here trying to impress women, trying to say the right thing, the clever thing, the thing that makes them look good. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to put your best foot forward. That's human. But what actually creates that deep, lasting kind of attraction? The kind where she's thinking about you at random moments for no obvious reason. That's never really about being impressive. It's about being present, actually paying attention, noticing the small things, responding to who she actually is, not who you're hoping she'll be. The observation text works because it tells her you listen, really listen, not just waiting for your turn to talk. The unfinished thought works because it reminds her that you're a person with depth, that there's more to discover, that conversations with you don't follow the same predictable script she's used to. And that last one, you don't have to be okay today. That works because it meets her exactly where she is. No performance, no agenda, just presence. And honestly, that last one isn't even really a text strategy. It's just what it looks like when you actually care about someone. When you're paying close enough attention to notice they're carrying something heavy, and you're secure enough in yourself to acknowledge it without making it weird or turning it into a whole thing. That's the version of you that stays on her mind. Not the guy who said the coolest thing, not the guy who played it perfectly. The guy who made her feel like she didn't have to pretend around him. That's rare. Much rarer than most men realize. And here's the reframe I want to leave you with, because I think this actually matters. A lot of men approach attraction like it's a performance, like there's a role to play, and if you hit your marks correctly, you get the outcome you want. And maybe that works sometimes, on the surface, for a while. But women aren't audiences. They're not watching you perform and scoring you on technique. They're feeling, constantly, underneath everything. The texting, the dates, the conversations. They're asking one question. Not consciously, but emotionally. Does this person actually see me? And the men who understand that really understand it, not just intellectually, but in the way they actually show up. Those are the men who create the kind of connection that lasts, the kind that feels different from everything else she's experienced. That's what today was really about. Not tricks, not hacks, just a clearer understanding of what women are actually responding to, and how 3 small, well-timed texts can quietly communicate everything that matters. Now, most men will watch this, nod along, maybe even think, yeah, that makes sense, and then go back to texting the same way they always have. A smaller number will actually try one of these, see what happens, start paying closer attention. And a few, just a few, will genuinely internalize this. Will start showing up differently, not because they followed a formula, but because something actually shifted in how they think about connection. If you're in that last group, you already know what to do next. And if this gave you something real to think about, subscribe, because this is the kind of content I put out regularly. No fluff, no hype, just the stuff that actually matters when it comes to attraction, relationships, and understanding people better. I'll see you in the next one.